Okay, thank you, councillors. Thank you, members. Thank you, staff, and thank you, members of the public, for joining us. And welcome to the City of Bunbury OCM. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Noongar Wadandi people, and their continuing connection to the land, waters, and community. And we pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal community and to their culture and their elders, past, present, and emerging. I'd like to welcome all of you to this OCM. We have many people here in the gallery. Thank you for joining us. This meeting is also being live streamed, so I'm sure there's a number joining online as well. For those who haven't joined us in an OCM before, this is an official council meeting, so we have an agenda to work our way through. There are parts for public participation during public question time and deputation, but other than that, there's no opportunity for public participation at those stages. So I'll walk you through that as we get through it, but welcome for those who joined us for the first time. So we do have an apology from the Deputy Mayor, and the rest of us are all here. I have one declaration of interest, which is an impartiality interest from Councillor Brown on item 10.4.1. Is there any other declaration of interest, councillors? Okay, item 6, we have received a number of submissions for public question time. I have spoken to some of these members in the audience, so we have received responses. There is one that I think we don't have responses for at the moment, but for those that we don't have, we'll take on notice. I've also indicated to some of the people asking questions, there's some detail in some of the questions, so the CEO will be providing a summary response to some of them, but all of the full responses will be provided to the questioner and will also be appearing in the minutes. So their full answers will be appearing in the minutes of this meeting. So we'll work through the order that we've received them in, and I'll invite Simon up to come and join us and ask your 3 questions first. Thanks, Simon. So you don't have to touch the mic. We've got our minute taking control on the mic. So Simon, what we'll do, we'll get you to ask your 3 questions, and then we'll get responses for you. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Oh, sorry, you will need to pick up the mic though. You just don't need to touch any buttons. Yep.
Like this? Okay.
That's the one. Thank you, Simon. That makes sure it'll be picked up online as well. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Good evening, Mayor McGwell and councillors. I'm Simon Merriweather of 6 Lee Street, Bunbury. Bunbury's urban tree canopy is critically low at around 10.2%. In fact, some deserts have higher tree cover than our city. By comparison, Paris is currently at 26% and aims for 30 to 40% of its surface to be green or permeable by 2030. London has similar ambitions. Singapore already has 30% and continues to expand its urban greenery. Perth, with around 20% canopy cover, is the lowest of an Australian capital city. Urban trees provide essential benefits. They reduce heat, absorb stormwater, improve air quality, support biodiversity and enhance community well-being. Yet Bunbury's tree canopy is not only low, it is decreasing. In this context, I would like to ask the following questions regarding the 89 Beach Road site and the city's tree management strategies. Question 1. The city's Greening Bunbury plan commits to increasing urban canopy over time. How does the proposed sale and development of 89 Beach Road, which contains approximately 30 trees, most of which are mature, contribute to achieving these canopy targets? Question 2. Mature trees deliver benefits that take decades to replace. If the trees at 89 Beach Road are removed, how many replacement trees would need to be planted and over what time frame to restore the equivalent canopy cover currently on the site? And lastly, question 3. Across Australia, local governments have adopted tree retention policies to protect trees on public and private land. Is the City of Bunbury planning to adopt a similar policy, such as the Wolga Model Local Planning Policy, to preserve and strengthen protection for Bunbury's limited tree canopy? Thank you.
Thanks for your questions, Simon. I might refer these to the CEO, who says as a summary response. As I said, full responses will be provided to you and in the minutes of the next meeting. But CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. The answer to the first question, the City takes its Greening Bunbury policy commitment seriously, and the data shows that we are delivering. Our published baseline canopy is over 13.7% across the city, not the 10% figure that's circulating. And updated 2025 mapping shows canopy has increased since that baseline in 2020. The city planted 618 new trees in 2025 with a further 584 planned for 2026, including Marri and agonis trees in the Big Swamp area, specifically to support possum and cockatoo habitat. Canopy targets are measured citywide, not at an individual site level. They are not dependent on the retention of any single residential lot. The city is not choosing between trees and housing. We are investing in both. Thank you, Mayor. Question 2. Mature trees do take time to replace, and we don't dispute that. A like-for-like canopy replacement calculation isn't straightforward, as it depends on species, planting density, soil conditions, and survival rates. What we can tell you is that our citywide canopy cover has increased since our 2020 baseline, reflecting sustained investment in urban greening across many sites. The loss of some trees on one residential lot, 28, the majority exotic or interstate species, does not undermine the city's canopy trajectory at the scale the Bunbury Greening Plan operates at. Question 3. The city is aware of the Walga model policy and is actively investigating a range of options for strengthening tree canopy outcomes in Bunbury, including incentive-based approaches, potential planning controls and self-regulation. We want to get this right. The data from other local governments shows approximately 89% of tree removal applications under the Walga policy are ultimately approved, which raises questions about whether regulation alone achieves the desired outcome. Whatever approach the city pursues, it will involve community consultation. Any future tree retention policy operates at a citywide strategic level and is separate consideration from the proposed disposal of an individual lot zoned through proper process almost a decade ago.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you for those responses. Thank you, Simon, for your questions. Margaret Juice. Is Margaret here? There's Margaret.
Mayor, City Councillors and ladies and gentlemen, due to the fact that the Council has accepted the gift of the ADQ 121 Old Australian rail car over nearly 2 years ago, I thought I would see plans to use or display it. I have not seen any plans to display it in over 2 years. I have had an email from Council after waiting a month. Got it on Friday, so it's a little bit different to my question because I put it in Thursday morning and got a reply Friday. But it did not address my real question. Has the Council actually got plans for this rail car? Has it been discussed? Do any of the new people know about it? It has not. I have not seen anything official. It's not even on Council land. It's at Osmic in Picton, sitting there for 2 years. It's a bit of a worry when historically we've got nothing in Bunbury about our rail history.
So, Margaret, could you just this is a question time rather than debate, so noted your questions there, but if you have a...
It's the same question.
Sure.
It is not even in Council land. It is still where it is over 2 years ago. It is our heritage, and I believe it should be saved. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Thanks for your question. So, as you just indicated, there was a response to your email. So we remain committed to ensuring the Australian Railcar is displayed in a manner that honours its significant history to our community. Following that council decision to accept the railcar from the Public Transport Authority, we had to work through a number of necessary steps, and this was including negotiating the terms of the deed with PTA to ensure the best possible outcome of the city and investigating in-kind and other funding opportunities for transportation and ongoing maintenance of the railcar. So you may recall it took some time to get it down here. We want to assure you that while it may appear that nothing is happening, work is continuing behind the scenes, and we'll keep your community engaged on the process. So we also indicate that I know you've mentioned in your email around the potential usage of Bicentennial Square and honouring that history. That process will be coming back to Council in June for further public comment around that too. So there are certainly things happening in that space, Margaret, but we thank you for your question and your interest. Judith Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillors, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name's Judith Smith. I live at 87 Beach Road, South Bunbury. My questions are relating to the sale of 89 Beach Road. If you look at the footpath that's currently a bike path for the children going to school. My question is, at the Beach Road end, there is a large portion of the footpath that will be inside the boundary of the proposed residential block. To maintain safety for all, how does the City of Bunbury plan to realign, and at whose cost, this wide footpath to join the Beach Road traffic island that the city recently built when there is a power pole in the way? Question 2. Because it has been more than 10 years, will the City of Bunbury undertake new and current studies on the subject land, such as 1. The risk of acid sulphate soils, 2. Traffic and safety management, 3. Potential to require tree preservation and building envelopes, and 4. Environmental impact assessment, not limited to, but including for black cockatoos and also the western ringtail opossums that live here. Question 3 relates to the original purchase of 89 Beach Road land on the 14th of December in 1970. There have been conflicting stories as to the acquisition of this vacant land and whether it was in fact a B-class reserve. Could you please provide evidence that this lot was gifted or purchased, and if purchased, for how much? If there was historically a B-class reservation, was this removed through Parliament and other due process?
Thank you for your questions, Judith. I will defer those to the CEO to respond. Thanks, CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. In relation to question 1, the CEO has assessed this and can confirm that the existing footpath can be realigned to the road verge, which remains city land. Pedestrian connectivity along this route, including to Beach Road and Big Swamp Nature Reserve, will be maintained. The necessary infrastructure adjustments, including to any surface assets in the vicinity, are minor in nature and are a routine part of managing the city's road, reserve and footpath network. As with any footpath or verge works across the city, the cost of works within the road reserve is the responsibility of the city. This is standard practice and not unique to this site. The second question, the key distinction is between the sale of land and the approval of a development. They are two separate processes. The sale does not involve a development. When a development application or building permit is lodged, all relevant technical requirements must be met, including those in the question: acid sulphate, soils, traffic, landscaping and environmental obligations. These are standard statutory processes. This is how every residential development in the city is assessed. Environmental impacts were assessed during the 2015 rezoning, including referral to the then Department of Parks and Wildlife. The city has also completed an updated vegetation assessment. Based on vegetation type and scale, clearing is unlikely to trigger state or federal environmental thresholds. The third question around the purchase of 89 Beach Road. The city's archival records, including the original council resolution, confirm that the 1970 transfer was a reciprocal land exchange. The then owners received a separate parcel of land from the city, and the city received this lot. The council resolution reads, the exchange of land be approved with council undertaking to pay costs of transfer, etc. This was not a gift or a donation. It was a land swap between the two parties. There are no conditions, covenants, or restrictions on the certificate of title requiring the land to be retained as open space or used for any specific purpose. This has been confirmed directly with Landgate. B-class reserves are Crown land reserves classified under the Land Administration Act. This lot is freehold and owned by the City of Bunbury. These are B-class reserve and freehold, fundamentally different classifications. This lot was originally zoned Parks and Recreation, not for any environmental or recreational purpose, but because it was considered too small for residential development under the planning standards at the time. When those standards changed and the lot was assessed as suitable for development, council initiated a rezoning process. This process was completed in 2015-16 and the lot has been zoned residential ever since. Thank you, Mayor.
CEO, Chris Howe. Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
This is in the context of some claims that the arguments against the sale are mainly from nearby homeowners and about amenity. The arguments are greater than just amenity. I live about 1.6 kilometres away from the block as the crow flies, just for the record. Question 1, does the city truly value and take into consideration non-human elements of our environment and difficult to quantify outcomes such as environmental health, community well-being, urban habitat value and environmental stewardship when making decisions such as the decision to carve up and develop urban green space? And how are you hoping to achieve the outcomes of your greening Bunbury plan by removing green spaces? Question 2. Previous investments by the city into 89 Beach Road, including the large constructed Big Swamp Parkland sign, multiple native trees, the cycleway and the traffic island, all give evidence of previous intentions of the city to acknowledge this land as the entry statement to the Big Swamp, and leading to the community's adoption of this land as exactly that. Why should the city spend more ratepayer money to undo the past investment and break down this important green space? Statements made by the city claim to have completed environmental impact assessments and checks with EPA and DBCA in 2015. However, the conservation status of the western ringtail possum was upgraded to critically endangered in May 2018. In addition to this, the inherent value of every remaining tree within the city increases each time another tree is removed from the landscape. Will the city undertake a new assessment of the green spaces in Bunbury, including 89 Beach Road, so that this new ecological context can be considered and the impacts of clearing properly reassessed?
Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your questions, Chris, and I'll defer again to the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. The answer to question 1 is yes. The Greening Bunbury plan exists because the city recognises that trees, habitat and biodiversity are essential for a livable city. Our canopy is growing, as I've said earlier. We planted 618 trees last year, with 584 more planned this year, including species specifically to support possum and cockatoo habitat near Big Swamp. This lot is zoned residential, not public open space. It has been there for almost a decade. Selling a single residential lot is not removing green space. The adjacent Big Swamp Reserve is entirely separate, fully protected and unaffected. Excuse me.
CEO, I'll get it. Just thanks, members of the public. We'll just refrain from any commentary there. Thank you.
The adjacent Big Swamp Nature Reserve is entirely separate, fully protected and unaffected. We're honest about the tension. Balancing housing and environment is difficult. The second question, the wayfinding signage, footpath and traffic island serve the surrounding road network and pedestrian connectivity, not this lot as open space. The sign directs traffic to the reserve from a popular route. The footpath connects pedestrians along the street. The traffic island serves Beach Road. None of these were investments in this lot as a parkland. They will continue to function regardless of what happens here. Signage will be retained or relocated. The footpath will be realigned to the road verge. Access to the reserve is unaffected. The third question, the city acknowledges the western ringtail possum's conservation status has been upgraded to critically endangered since 2015. We take that seriously. However, a change in conservation status does not automatically require reassessment of every site near known habitat. The 2015 assessment found wildlife is very unlikely to be solely reliant on this site given its small scale and proximity to the Big Swamp Nature Reserve. The city's current vegetation assessment confirms the majority of the trees on site are exotic or interstate species, not local natives. The Big Swamp Nature Reserve provides the significant possum habitat in this area. It is fully protected and unaffected. The city is also actively planting marri and agonis trees in the Big Swamp area, specifically to support possum habitat, investing in habitat where it will have the greatest benefit.
Thank you, CEO. Canella Hope.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Canella Hope and I live in South Bunbury. With regards to 89 Beach Road, South Bunbury, and the for sale signs that went up, then down, then up, and they're now down again. My first question is, 10 years ago, a different composition of elected members narrowly voted, despite widespread community opposition, to rezone 89 Beach Road. Following the rezoning process, the sale of 89 Beach Road, it was not pursued. Instead, the land and the trees were left for a decade, continuing to appear as part of the Big Swamp Parkland, maintained by ratepayers. Why has perception of protection of this land, that it is permanently part of the Big Swamp regional open space, continued and for so long? Why wasn't it sold back then? Question number 2. The city has acknowledged community engagement should have occurred before the for sale signs at 89 Beach Road went up. This aside, and as far as I'm aware, there's been no recent community engagement or council resolution that weighs up all of the costs, the benefits and the values, all of the criteria that's required to inform a decision to dispose of this land, to advertise it for sale, which is different to the Local Government Act disposal procedures. How does this satisfy the city's land acquisition and rationalisation policy and achieve transparent decision making? And my third question is, there's a lot of land that's zoned but not yet developed for increased residential density in proximity of the Big Swamp regional parklands. For example, all along Spencer Street and into the CBD, all around the plaza shops, and even along the other side of Beach Road. New housing subdivision requires open space. This upzoning and other rule changes, this all happened after 89 Beach Road was rezoned a decade ago. Why sell 89 Beach Road now when its value as a green open space corridor and connection with such large mature trees has actually increased, not decreased? Thank you.
Good to go. Thank you for your questions, Canal. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2015 motion was moved, seconded and adopted as a council's decision through proper process. Council considered all community submissions, heard from the 3 residents who spoke against the proposal and voted to approve the rezoning. The WA Planning Commission subsequently approved it. The democratic process ran its full course back in 2015. The city has continued to assess its land holdings and priorities. The decision to progress the sale now reflects the current housing crisis, which has escalated significantly since 2015. The city is under sustained and legitimate pressure from the community, the state government and housing service to make more land available for housing. This is one step among many. On the perception that this lot is part of Big Swamp Reserve, the city can't speak for how community perceptions have changed over time. What we can confirm is the factual position that this lot is not and has never been part of the reserve. It is a separate residential lot with no official name. The wayfinding signage on the site directs visitors toward the reserve from a popular route. It is not a boundary marker.
Again, as members of the audience, I'll just ask you to keep your...
The second question, the
yourself.
city has acknowledged the community information about should have been put in place before the sale signage appeared, which I think was referenced. It's been stolen a number of times, not removed by us. We have been upfront about that and we have addressed it. On process, city officers review all city land holdings in accordance with the land acquisition and rationalisation policy, considering land use, planning requirements, economic, social and environmental factors. To be clear, the formal disposal process has not yet occurred. Under the Local Government Act, the proposed disposal must be publicly advertised. Community submissions will be received and the proposal will come to council for formal consideration, including the full property history and all community feedback. No final decision has been made. In terms of transparency, the city has established a comprehensive information page with a full factual record, responding to dozens of community inquiries, engaged openly with media and is answering public questions this evening. In terms of the third question, the existence of other undeveloped residential land elsewhere does not change the merits of progressing this site. Different sites have different ownership, different constraints and different timeframes. The city can only act on land it owns. This lot is city-owned, zoned residential, and has been for almost a decade. It is ready now. The city is not choosing between sites. We're progressing all available options because the housing crisis demands it. This lot is one of several city-owned sites being progressed alongside the Punch Bowl site, Ocean Drive lots, and many others.
Thank you, CEO. Ingrid, oh, there you are, Ingrid. Hello, Ingrid.
Well, I'm Ingrid Hilario. Most of them, you know me because I want a shelter here in Bunbury. And when I'm talking with Don Punch or Papaleo, they always tell me how dangerous the old fire station is because of PFAS. So I have 3 questions. Is the council aware of the great danger the PFAS contamination at the old fire station poses for the groundwater? Every time it rains, it goes deeper down. And according to what I know, the building is not dangerous, but the courtyard is in one corner. Can the council, number 2, can the council approach emergency services for permission to inspect the old fire station for PFAS? And then, number 3, can you share the results of this inspection? I think it's very important, and I'm getting scared about what can happen to the people living close to the old fire station and for the groundwater here in Bunbury. So, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ingrid. My understanding, we did get those questions quite late, so we don't have a formal response for you on those as yet. We'll provide that to you, and again, as stated, like the other answers, they will be provided in the minutes as well. Before we just leave public question time, I will just note, obviously, I referred a lot of questions to the CEO on a lot of those technical matters. Obviously, what was probably summarised in the last question, this council has not made a resolution on this side, and that will do so in the coming, well, I won't be too quick, but I'm assuming we'll be receiving a petition very shortly, which will respond back to council, and this council will make a determination on the next steps from there. So just wanted to point that out, that I've referred a lot of questions to the CEO, but obviously this council, and those who may have wanted to make any points there, you do have the opportunity to make that deputation, and I'll outline the steps for that when we get to that. So jumping along to petitions, I do understand, before we get to petitions, sorry, I just need someone to move the minutes of the previous meeting, if somebody's happy to outline that. Thank you, Councillor Quain, and a seconder. Councillor Kozisek, is there likely to be any debate on this, councillors? If that's the case, I'll put that. That's carried unanimously, thank you. And we do have some minutes from the policy committee. Somebody happy to move? They are true, accurate. Thank you, Councillor Kozisek, seconded. Councillor Broad, I'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried. Okay, now we get to the petition. I do understand we've received at least one petition, or there is one petition presented. Councillor Gassett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just ask you, Mr. Mayor, to just recognise former Councillor Rolf Senior. He came in late, so he probably didn't see him.
Thank you. We do acknowledge the former councillor in the room, Councillor Rolf. Thank you. Welcome. I'm not sure he can hear me, Councillor Gassett, but we acknowledge him.
Sit down, because
sure. Thanks, Councillor Gassett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm privileged to present a. Mr. Mayor, I'm privileged to present a petition, and I'm honoured that I was asked to do it. This is an inaugural presentation for me of a petition. So the petition is, Mr. Mayor and councillors, is on behalf of J. Reynolds of 8 Gibson Street, South Bunbury, in the state of Western Australia, who is the promoter of this petition, which contains 539 signatures. Mr. Mayor, just briefly, we've received 2 additional sheets of signatures, which probably won't be part of this, but for the record, we've received more that I've inserted them here. I've inserted one here. So the petition says, to the Mayor and of the Council of the City of Bunbury, petition in relation to sale of 89 Beach Road, South Bunbury, and in regards to not wanting it sold and being permanently placed on as public open space. I should just say there is also a pretty thorough covering letter. Not sure if I'm allowed to read part of it, but
No, so Councillor, you present the petition to myself.
and there's also a nice bit of artwork of a tree, etc. So
Thanks,
I think
Councillor.
that's it, Mr. Mayor. I
So
move
you-
that the petition be accepted.
Sure. If you just bring it to me, we don't have the wording. You just pass me the petition and we'll just get the wording up on the screen so councillors know what they are receiving. Oh, we just read it out? Yeah. Okay. Just to clarify again, councillors, though, we've had a move that we accept the petition in relation to the sale of 89 Beach Road, South Bunbury. So we had a move that was accepted. Someone happy to second that petition? Thank you, Councillor Councillor Ramesh. All those in favour of accepting that petition? Okay, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. So I'll pass this through the CEO, who will pass it on to the relevant officer. So for those who are in the room who are not aware of petition process, from this petition will be presented to an officer who will provide a report back. Under legislation, that has to happen within the next 2 rounds of council meetings. So either in 3 weeks' time or 6 weeks' time, depending what we need to put into that report. So for the petitioner, that will be obviously communicated with you. And then obviously when that report comes back to council, it'll have an executive recommendation, which this council will either vote in favour of and vote against, and you will have the opportunity at that stage to make a deputation. I think the Governance Officer is looking for that, so I'll just pass it to him. So that's the process we'll go from here. That's been accepted and it'll form part of the agenda within the next 2 rounds, and you'll be made aware of that. For those who aren't familiar with our processes, we have an OCM every 3 weeks. But the week before, so in 2 weeks' time, there's a briefing session, which is an informal process for elected members to ask questions. You also have the opportunity to make deputations at those meetings as well. Sure. Yeah, no problems. That's all right. The petition's dealt with. I did just, before we move off petitions, just want to make sure, because I did have a note from Mr. Howe, Chris, and you wanted to present a petition, but I'm assuming that was your petition? Sure, thank you. I just wanted to be very clear of that, so that's fine. Thank you. That's all been dealt with. The councillors, we haven't received any other petitions, have we? Very good. So for those who are in the room for that particular item, we have no more discussion on that particular item. So if you would like to move it, I will also note, obviously that petition's been received. There will be obviously clearly no decisions made prior to that petition returning to council. So I'll make that clear too. So we do have some more items to deal with. You're more than welcome to stay, but for those who've been standing or those who want to go home, I might just give yourselves a couple of minutes, but more than welcome to. But I will just allow for those who would like to leave now. If you are going to conjugate, just the sound travels very poorly through here, so I would ask you if you can go out into the grassed area at the front. Thank you. Sure. How are we doing? Foreshadowed motions, or how are we going to deal with the other item? The decision on well. Oh, it's good. Yeah. Sure. So, councillors, what the manager of governance was just mentioning for me, we've lost the ability to do any typing on here, so it won't be filled in with moved and seconders. So we're going to be doing that old school manually and writing that down. So that was just what was informed to me. We can scroll through that, but we can't get any writing. So right, that's a few people still here. Barbara, not just yet. Sorry, Barbara. Just go over your set. Well, first we have to. We're not even started through the meeting yet. Thanks, Barbara. But we do have a deputation on item 10.3.3 where Barbara would like to present. Those in favour of hearing from that deputation, please indicate. That's carried. So when we get to that item, which should be very shortly, we'll invite you up to come and present. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. So, councillors, dealing with tonight's items, we have item 10.3.1 to come out. That does require an absolute majority for point 1. We have 10.3.3 to come out, as Barbara has just indicated, to speak to that particular item. And then we will be dealing with the later item or the urgent business item from Welga. Did anyone want to speak to or discuss the other items on there? So just clarifying again, 10.3.1 and 10.3.3 to be discussed. Is there any others? If that's the case, could I have somebody move that they are carried on block? Thank you, Councillor Brown. Second by Councillor Ramesh. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. That's treated separately. That will be dealt with that too. Okay, so we do move to 10.3.1. So we have an executive recommendation there. This does require an absolute majority for point 1. Could I have somebody move the executive recommendation? Hey, Councillor Quain, is there a seconder? Councillor Kozisek. I believe there may be some debate on this particular item. Councillor Quain.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to encourage councillors to consider all the information provided and make a very informed decision. And I will be supporting this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kozisek.
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, I think it's an excellent review. I think we have systems in place now to protect everybody on every situation that may arise, and yeah, I just urge everybody to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against.
So, Mayor, I'm speaking against this motion. Whilst I understand some of the things I'm going to be asking in this little discussion is beyond the jurisdiction of council, we can always advocate for what I'm about to raise. So I believe it is part of this scope of the Code of Conduct. So I'm just going to read out what I've sent before for the public record. So background. So referencing the Australian Local Government Standards Panel, last year's annual report, Standards Panel considered 238 allegations in the 132 complaints finalised in 24-25, 96 findings of no breach, 27 findings that was a breach occurred. The panel refused to deal with 102 allegations, the majority of which were determined as vexatious and or frivolous. So the Fair Work Ombudsman considers that complaints found vexatious or frivolous as bullying, harassment or weaponisation. Available medical evidence indicates it causes severe prolonged detriment to the defendants and their families, including mental and physical health harm, self-harm thoughts, as well as negatively impacting on the operations of organisations. A councillor reportedly commits suicide, I won't say which state, because of bullying and harassment. Following the police investigation in that state, that tragic death, that state undertook reforms aimed at improving the culture and conduct within local government. There are other public reports of Australian elected members committing suicide or dying because of bullying-related stress. Also, there is evidence of a past WALG elected member who was severely bullied via vexatious complaints as well as toxic culture. This led to PTSD, steps to leave that state and become emotionally isolated and insular. Another young female became constantly obsessed with self-harm. So my recommendations, if I may, which I'll, if the council can't deal with it, we can send this to the minister, and I do intend as my right to do that anyway. That when a complaint of a breach is made, the complainant is to submit a statutory declaration that the information provided in the complaint is true. Knowingly making a false statutory declaration is a criminal offence, including imprisonment. Also, civil courts require an affidavit or in-person evidence. We've been told that there is, and I know there is a declaration when someone makes a complaint, but that doesn't come as a statutory declaration. The offence and the penalties are nowhere near a statutory declaration. So if someone commits a vexatious or frivolous complaint, sends someone to hospital, or potentially someone commits suicide, they get away scot-free. There's no comeback. I'll let you decide whether that's fair. Number two, that the complainant and anyone complicitly assisting the complainant is to pay legal costs and damages to the defendant if the complaint is found in favour of the defendant as per common law precedent. Legal representation rights for elected members have been removed. Number 3, that the City of Bunbury write to the Department of Local Government and the Local Government Inspector, asking them to enforce and increase the existing penalties for providing false or misleading information in a complaint. The Standards Panel report is silent on whether any enforcement's actually ever occurred. So further to the above recommendations, it may be also appropriate to reference the new Combating Anti-Semitism, Hate and Extremism Criminal Migration Law Act in the Code of Conduct. More details on this can be provided. That is the end of my debate, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Councillor Gassop. Is there a speaker for the executive recommendation?
This motion is not carried. I'll move it an alternative motion to be referred to committee, although I know there's a time.
Thank you. Is there a speaker for this recommendation? Councillor Quain.
Thank you, Mayor. I accept and thank Councillor Gassop for providing his debate against this recommendation, and encourage councillors to consider what the content of his debate and vote effectively. Thank you.
I'll put that. Those in favour of the executive recommendation, please indicate. Those against? One against. That's carried. Item 10.3.3, Barbara. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. So you now have the opportunity to present to council. You have 10 minutes. If you don't need to use them all, that's fine.
No, it won't take me that long.
Thanks, Barbara.
So, good evening to Mayor, CEO and all the councillors. I represent the Bunbury Women's Club and wish to provide you with a further insight into the club's architectural and cultural heritage within the Bunbury area and why it should be supported in tonight's budget review. For many years, the Bunbury Women's Club occupied a modest cream-coloured building sandwiched between the New Services Australia building and Central Arcade on Prinsep Street. That was until 2 weeks ago, when we started our renovations and removed the render from the outside the building, and it has unveiled a striking and beautiful facade, much to our delight. If you haven't had the opportunity to walk down Prinsep Street, I strongly urge you to go and have a look at this beautiful building. The building's origins date back to 1852, when it was constructed as a rectory for the Anglican Church. The bricks were made here in Bunbury, and it's believed that portions of the original structure still remains within the building. Several clergy, including the Reverend Withers, resided there over the years. In 1910, it underwent a significant reconstruction using plans from the renowned architect Eustace Cohen, featuring the arts and crafts style. The building continued as the Anglican Rectory until the mid-1950s, when a new premises was built and ownership was transferred to the local businessman, Mr. Dorset. At this time, the Bunbury Women's Club was being established by the wives of local business owners. They met for social gatherings, skill development and card games. Initially, the club rented a room at the rectory for meetings, and later expanding to occupy the whole building as membership increased. In 1959, the club purchased the property and has been custodian ever since. Culturally, the club is one of the few independent women-only clubs to exist in Australia. It welcomes members 6 days a week, offering activities such as mahjong, canasta, bridge, afternoon tea, and regular functions like Melbourne Cup lunches. The club fosters a warm environment for conversation, laughter and friendship, and sometimes a bit of healthy competition prevails. Most members are older women, a group at a high risk of socialisation and depression. The club provides support and purpose, helping new members to transform from withdrawn individuals into confident, thriving women. We aim to keep the fees low to make joining as accessible as possible to these ladies. The current restoration project has been 5 years in the development. The building has suffered from damp issues for many years. Various remedial measures have had mixed results, prompting the club to consultate the heritage team here at the city for a solution. They recommended Colgan Industries, who we were lucky enough to be renovating the Rose Hotel at the time. Colgans have come on board as highly recommended by the Heritage Council of WA, and at the time they undertook internal repairs and proposed a plan to resolve the remaining damp problems alongside renovating the facade. Our next challenge was secure funding for the project, and through grants, donations and fundraising, we have managed to raise approximately $185,000. Unfortunately though, this still fell short of the target. It's amazing how much renovations cost. The club approached the Mayor and the Chief Executive Officer to request additional support, and we are grateful for their willingness to meet and assist us, which brings us here tonight. I trust this information has provided a deeper understanding of the Bunbury Women's Club and its rich history, and why it should be supported to continue to provide a beneficial place for the ladies of Bunbury. So, on behalf of the members and myself, I extend our thanks for your support and for your approval of the funds requested for our club to complete the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for your deputation. So, Councillor Quain. Sure, impartial interest, Councillor Quain. Thank you. Could I have somebody move the executive, we do have an executive recommendation there that Council adopt the February budget review with the following budget variations, and there's some of it on the top half. And it goes, no, that is all it. Somebody happy to move that recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Ramesh. Is there a seconder? Councillor Turner. Is there likely to be any debate on this particular item, councillors? Sure. Councillor Ramesh.
I reserve my right.
Thank you.
To anything to
Sure.
discuss.
Councillor Turner. All good. Speaker against.
Speaking against, just so I can raise something that may be really relevant, Mr. Mayor. Just want to provide you a number, 103,132, right? And that is the number of people that have actively served in Australian wars and died to have democracy. And that number I'll probably be repeating in the future, 103,132. So that gives us the opportunity to be here and discuss these things. So the point I want to make here is that we know there's volatilities. It's always happened, you know, there's surprises, world volatilities, economies going through strain because of wars or COVID or global financial crisis, or surprises which are yet sure to come. So, Mr. Mayor, I don't know how much we use economic forecasts in helping prepare our budgets, but I do know that many reputable organisations, whether private or governments, certainly utilise economists and their forecasts. It is a specific science, it's a skilled, recognised science, universities teach it in undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, and it's a very critical tool. It is, in some instances, crystal ball gazing in some aspects, maybe others might call it intuition, but the economic forecasts based on world events or local events, national events, utilises real methods, data, statistics and predictors. So what I'm getting to is that I think we possibly could use that tool in helping prepare our budgets. I mean, you know, race went up 0.25% today, 25 points. Do we know what that's going to impact on, say, council budget, or on the community, on ratepayers, on projects, fuel costs, how that's going to impact on projects that we may already have in train. You know, we might have budgeted 50 million for a gallery or something like that, and by the time it comes along, there's a crisis and it's going to cost $100 million. So it does affect either short-term or long-term forecast and financial planning. I'm not saying we use the prophecies of Nostradamus as a precise tool to manage our budget, but certainly forecasting in a scientific and mathematical method has a place, in my view, in the way we manage our finances. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is the Speaker for the recommendation? Councillor Ramesh.
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor. I think it's valid points what Councillor Gassib has raised, but we do have structured briefing with long-term financial plan and strategic thinking, and we also have some incidentals. What's happening in the current global environment is not predicted or anticipated a month ago. So these things are going to happen as the world evolves. So I do not think there's anything else that's pointing at this executive recommendations. I would be still supporting the executive recommendations.
Thank you. I'll put the item that we adopt the budget review. Those in favour, please indicate. Those against, that's carried unanimously. So to Barbara, that's including all the changes in there, which includes the funding variation for the Bunbury Women's Club. So that's good. Thank you. We do have an application for leave from Councillor Ramesh. Is somebody happy to move that's accepted? Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Councillor Turner, moving that. Second by Councillor Quain. If you're waving or... I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. You can enjoy your leave, Councillor Ramesh. So I do believe before we deal with the late item, I understand I have received a question from a member. Councillor Gassett.
Can Council consider delegating to the CEO the authority to consider and make a submission to the Royal Commission into Anti-Semitism and Social Cohesion?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Gassett. I think we can consider delegating any of the CEO, but that would need to come through a form of a motion and position. So I'll take that question as a bit of a statement and note that obviously we can request the CEO to do something for our behalf, but obviously elected members can also form part of that. But yeah, I'll leave it with that. Thanks, Councillor Gassett. Thank you. Okay, councillors, we have. First of all, we just need to note that we deal with this. So is somebody happy to move that we put this on the table to deal with? I have to move it. I'll move that the council, in accordance with our standing orders, approve consideration for this item. I'll move that. Is there a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Turner. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. So we deal with this, not just for background, councillors. Obviously, the Walga zone and all of Walga have been asking for a response. They need a response to provide for their discussion paper on the 28th of March. Hence, it's come to us for this point of view. Obviously, this will be feeding into Walga's positions, which they're attempting to hear from all 139 local governments on their views. I know all of the zone members that we're part of, South West Zone, have given a position. So I think we just need to provide a position to Walga, and however they use that is up to us. So there's a detailed report in there, councillors, or a discussion paper, I should say. So how I plan on doing this, we've obviously got two items. I'll deal with them separately. So I'm happy to take a mover for either supports or does not support for either of them, for each one of them. So I'll deal with item one and move with whoever stands up first. And they can either raise whether they support or does not support. And obviously if it's lost, we'll revert back to the other option. So who wants to put a position forward? Councillor Gass. Yeah, sure. Before I do ask the table, I will take questions first because this has come to us late.
Just curious about, has community consultation on this sort of thing? I know it's urgent, and why Walga hasn't asked the most important. Speak much. I'll just go the other way.
Sure.
So just going by instinct.
Yep, absolutely. As I said, if this fails, we'll revert back to supports. There is that discussion paper, and as I said, that we do two again. I am happy to queue. Is there a seconder to that? Easy for us. Thanks, Mintago. I'll just get you to highlight that does not support again, please. Nelly, thank you. Going to be a speaker against this?
I'm going to support it, but it'd be nice to be able to get a list of people that actually vote so we can go and door knock them when we're doing an election and not do the whole lot.
Sure. Look, there's clearly the government's indicated other forms of reform at some stage, and I know there's been conversations around e-voting and all kinds of bits and pieces. So this particular item, though, is obviously just dealing with these two items, and again, it's just giving Walga this city's view, which, yeah, I'm sure they'll share that. So is there a speaker? Sorry, Councillor Turner, would you like to speak for that?
Julie, really due to the people who want to vote and the people that don't wouldn't have a clue who any of us are anyway. So they'd just be ticking a box going, she looks pretty or he looks cute, and they're not as informed. So the people who actually want to vote probably do know who they're voting for and the reasons behind.
I had an argument with Minister Beasley about this, but I have actually thought about it, and I actually believe that an informed community is really important. And if you have to vote, I think you become informed. And yes, there will always be those that give a donkey vote, etc. But if we can increase our voting percentages and get a better community input into what we're doing, I think it's a good thing. I really think that we should be supporting compulsory voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a speaker for does not support? There's a lot of double negatives in here. Councillor Gassop, so this is speaking for, not supporting.
I'll speak in favour of do not support compulsory.
Yes.
Mr Mayor, I just want to clarify that we as a council, we value every citizen in this community, and it's probably, in my view, better not to force them to vote, but work harder to encourage them to vote. Go out there and encourage them to vote. Engage with them, talk with them, walk the street with them, and, build up that vote base from 25 or 30% and see what we can do. But certainly, we value the votes, every single ratepayer, but let's encourage them to vote.
Thank you. A speaker against does not support him. Councillor Ramesh.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to be countering that, partly because we are currently in the process of preferential voting. So we have a small pot of voters who are going through the local, the preferential voting with a small pot of interested electors, which I think doesn't work. It was okay when it was first past the post to have a selected number of voters doing their jobs. But I think making it compulsory, actually, as the Councillor Kosasek pointed out, it increases the interest in the candidates. And I think it'll also increase the number of voters that's coming in. So currently, if you look at this data from 2021 to 2025 that's provided in the document, we're still only ranging between 25 to 30% of voters, which is abysmal. And then we getting all this same old cohort of people rotating through. So I think this way, even if we increase the voters to 60% by compulsory voting, because when you look at the other states, with the full spill with the compulsory voting, it looks better. And it's also a long-term sustenance value, especially when you got more and more youngsters coming in with AI and other options. I think it's good that we should have compulsory voting so that we expand the pot of voters, and it also puts onus on the candidates to promote themselves better, irrespective of which channels they use, whether they're expensive channels or not so expensive channels, but also makes it easier for supporting the candidates as well as the voters to show some interest, because currently we do have the same cohort of voters who keep repeating the votes, but nothing else. So I think it's a good thing having compulsory voting.
Thank you, Councillor Mess. Is there a speaker for does not support? Councillor Turner, to close. Thank you. So let's put the motion that we do not support compulsory voting in local government elections. Those in favour, please indicate. And those against? That's 3 against. I'm glad that didn't come to a split decision. Okay, so basically, council then that's now a recommendation that we do not support either of those things, and council supports the status quo of what we are currently doing. So that feedback will be provided to WALGA in time for their requirement of the 28th of March, and then we'll see what the minister decides. Now, I will note, for those who are interested, if anyone is following that, you can obviously write to the minister and raise your own votes if you feel strong, or your own voice if you feel strongly about that too, as the minister will be the ultimate decision maker in that process. So, councillors, I believe that brings us to a close. Thank you very much for those who have joined us both here and online, and I'll declare this meeting closed at 6:33. Thank you.